Hi, before I begin today's video, I'm going to give a shout out to a Black booktuber, and today's shout out is to Written in Melon. Chelsea runs this channel. She has 66 subscribers at the moment. This channel is a extension of her publishing company, Written in Melon Publishing, and so far she has a podcast, a book club, up and coming critique group, and basically she wants to support and boost Black authors, and also promote herself. She's written a book called Keeping Promises. It's a romance novella, I believe. So definitely go check out her channel. I will leave links to all her social media and her channel in the description box below. Hi, my name is Justin, aka Ghost Reader, and today I am doing a book review, and that is a review of the book Becoming Free, Becoming Black: Race, Freedom, and the Law in Cuba, Virginia, and Louisiana by Alejandro de la Fuente and Ariela de Gross. This video is part of my Topics in Black History series, in which I'll be talking about a topic in Black history every weekday in the month of February. So you can go check out the rest of those videos on my channel as well. This book was published by the Cambridge University Press, and I got it as a ARC on NetGalley, so I'd like to thank Cambridge University Press and NetGalley for the opportunity to review this ARC. So this book talks about the slave societies of Virginia, Louisiana, and Cuba, and examines the difference between each one and how African Americans in the United States, which are the colonies of Virginia and Louisiana, and slaves in Cuba, found ways to become free even in societies that were trying to limit their opportunities and try to keep them slaves. So one of the big differences between the three societies is that Cuba, for the most part, got a lot of its ideas regarding slaves and if they could become free through manumission, from its tradition in having laws that were based mostly on a Roman system, in which slavery wasn't a condition based on your race, so it wasn't tied into the fact that you were Black and thus a slave. So slaves had an easier way of becoming free. In Cuba, they had a easier but a bit harder in Louisiana, that was influenced by French and Spanish. And in Virginia, at least at first, it started out kind of a bit easier and got harder as time went. And by like 1860, you see like Virginia and Louisiana having really limited how slaves gained their freedom, or tried to anyway. And in Cuba, you don't see the same strident laws against slaves trying to get free, and also a larger population of free people of color. Now, in these societies in which they were trying to keep slaves like separate from whites, basically make whites are free, blacks are slaves, you still see a people of color, free people of color, and slaves doing things to gain freedom, or their manumission. So and taking their own initiative. So not just like the slave master dying and leaving in his will that they'll be free, but actually slaves bringing lawsuits to courts and claiming freedom based on the laws that were present. So for example, in Virginia, there were a lot of lawsuits with people claiming that they were actually free based on two laws. One, that the condition of the mother determined the condition of the child. So they could claim that their mother was free, or their mother was white, and therefore they weren't a slave. So if their mother or grandmother, some female ancestor of theirs, was Native American, that was also another way they could argue for their freedom. So you see, as whites began to make slavery a condition of Black people, it gave Black slaves more opportunities to claim that they were actually free, because if being Black, or that was the thing that made you a slave, well, then I can claim to be Native American, I can claim to be descended from someone who was white, and thus they used that as a way to get out of slavery. There were others who, of course, paid for their way. So in Cuba, it actually became law that if a person paid like half of their way to slavery, so they'd be half of what they did, they could actually, their master would be only allowed to get like half of their labor or half of their time. And that was a way to kind of paid for slavery. And then there were other lawsuits where they had to discuss, well, if the woman has paid half or her way through, is the child considered free? So African Americans were finding ways and loopholes in the laws in these different places to try to take more control over their lives. And in places where there were large population of free people of color, like Cuba, to a lesser extent than Cuba, Louisiana, it was a lot easier for slaves to try to attain freedom because they can get the support of the free people of color there. However, as time went on towards as times move forward in America, the United States, it got harder in places like Virginia and Cuba. Not Cuba, Virginia and Louisiana, as whites began to see the good number of free people of color, and then want them around. So tried to limit and restrict ways in which their slaves could become free, or the movement of free people of color. So this book was really good. I thought the authors did a really good job of comparing, contrasting the three different societies. I definitely learned a lot, because I thought from my knowledge, I only thought that ways that you became free was you either escaped, your master was nice and set you free, and that was mainly the big two ways. But slaves going to court and claiming in court, like, hey, I should be free because X, Y, and Z, they didn't think that was even like a thing. Like, why would white people let black slaves into court to make cases like that? But there are actually a good number of instances of blacks and black slaves going to court making claims that towards freedom, and for a time we're actually having quite a good success rate if they could prove their claims. However, that became to a lesser extent as people began to more associate, try to keep the races separate and try to keep blacks just as slaves, and thus fear of slave rebellions and things like that. So you didn't want too many of them free in their minds, because that could be problems, or we should take the free people of color and strip them off. So this book definitely opened my eyes into like the ways that slaves took the initiative to not through just slave rebellion and escaping, but also through the legal system to try to attain their freedom. And so this is a great book. I give it like a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I think that you all should read it if you want to learn more about how basically African Americans weren't really passive or about their freedom, or that the only ways that they could be free was just like running away, or earning it through like hard labor. They could actually take the initiative and go through a legal route and actually attain freedom that way. So I thought the book was really good at breaking that down. So that is my review of this book. Like I said, I learned a lot from this book. I encourage you all to read it. It's out in stores now. Let me know how I did in this review. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more videos from me, please subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at GhostReads28, on Instagram at Justin the Ghost Reader, and also on Goodreads. The link to that is down in the description box below. So as always, keep reading.